After a hectic race in Lanier, it's time to go back to the bigger circuits here in the Prodigy Racing Association Legacy Truck Series. And tonight, it's a familiar circuit, the current home to the NASCAR Cup Series finale, and a track that's been on the Truck Series schedule in real life for more than 15 years. Welcome to the virtual Phoenix Raceway live on FTN for qualifying and the main event in 3 minutes time here in the Valley of the Sun 150. Phoenix Raceway, one of the best tracks that these trucks have ever come to. And with that being said, more drivers than we've seen all throughout the season registered for tonight's event. Just under 20 looking to come forth to this circuit and aim for a chance at a race victory. Zach Saunders' 3 consecutive victory streaks snapped last week as Cash Culp got to victory lane. Culp, among others, going to be looking for the race victory tonight, and we're looking to lead you through all of the action here on FTN. I'm your host, David Kreutz, commentating and producing the entirety of tonight's event, and currently, there's no driver on the racing circuit. As it stands, it's going to be the top of the board for Drake Carty. First time in this session, first time in this series. And it looks like at the top of the board now by 1/10 of a second. We're waiting now on several drivers. Wagoner, Swab, Cody Johnson, Joey Kuba, and Shannon Milliken. All the drivers right now who have not taken the time so far. And it looks like for the time being, that's the way it's going to stay. 12 drivers so far have taken the time, the rest of which have chosen not to. We're going to be waiting to see whether or not they arrive onto the circuit. This 1 mile track, of course, not necessarily the longest, but much bigger than that of Lanier, which we went to in our previous event last Friday night. A little bit more about this circuit before we get into it. The 1 mile track in Avondale, Arizona has been a home to NASCAR Cup Series events since 1988, and we're using the 2008 Legacy trucks. In 2008, these trucks did take to the virtual Phoenix Raceway, except make it less virtual and make it more real. This track might not look different from the outside, but it's a much different track from the Phoenix of today, and drivers are going to have to approach it with that in mind. You're looking around the track right now. The aerial shot will show you Phoenix once had grass and a completely different racing line, not to mention the start-finish line in the more traditional spot. Drivers, of course, getting used to the current circumstances, and as it stands, Drake Carty doing a very good job of just that. He's on the provisional pole, and time is running out. It appears Drake has locked up the pole position, and with that being said, it looks like it's almost time to announce your full starting grid. It's going to be Drake Carty and Corey Lyles at the head of the field. JFR looking for back-to-back race victories after Cash Culp got it done in a hectic race in Lanier. Looks like right now, Thomas Coonan, Cash Culp, Aaron Fontaine in the chat. Thank you all for stopping by. And it looks like right now, everyone is settled in and looking forward to tonight's feature race. Qualifying has concluded at the top of the board, earning the pole for tonight's event. Drake Carty in the number 59, making a strong debut. And he's got the pole to kick off the festivities here in Phoenix. And so, now that we know who's at the top of the charts, let's figure out a little bit more from top to bottom in this session, as right now, your starting grid is officially loaded up on the track. At the head of the field, it's going to be the number 59 of Drake Carty getting that pole position, and right beside him will be Corey Lyles in the number 56. Lyles has made multiple starts this season, still looking for that first win, and it could come tonight. As you see, Fast Cash Racing Products going to be up in the front row, 1 and 2 positions respectively. Then from there, you're going to have your third place driver in Jace Hale, and Caden Perkins is going to be in fourth with position number 5. Then in there, Rodney Roberts, Joseph Klein, 6th in the number 97. 7th place going to go to Aaron Fontaine, and Jake Raven to the number 37 rounds out the 4th row in position number 8. 9th place is Chris Mullins, your Daytona winner, and Cameron Albertson is going to be position number 10, rounding out the top 10 spots. Notable absentee for tonight's race, Zach Saunders and Thomas Coonan both not racing. Cash Culp is going to be then from there in 11th. Cody Linscott is going to be in 12th, with 13th place then and there being immediately after, and that's the driver in the number 13, Cody Johnson. Shannon Milliken is going to be then 14th. 15th place. Then from there, Joey Kuba, Nicholas Wagner going to be 16th, and it looks like the final driver, Carter Schwab, inside and alone in row 9. And Carter going to be the final driver in the starting grid for tonight's event. Now, as the field comes together, a little bit more of a paint scheme talk that we discussed last broadcast in Phoenix. It looks like Aaron Fontaine has taken to the track with the Chris Fontaine throwback, and perhaps the first race of many for Aaron in that number 18 with the brand new look. And for those who recall what happened in last broadcast, Andrew Schulte alongside me in the booth and discussed Aaron Fontaine's last name, resembling a former Truck Series driver in Chris Fontaine, multi-year super speedway veteran, and he drove the same paint scheme until the mid-2010s. That's the paint scheme you're looking at right now, and Aaron on the circuit as drivers roll off for tonight's event here in Phoenix. And so now, it's time to see drivers get settled in for an 80-lap feature. 150 kilometers is what it comes out to here. And tonight, a brand new driver at the top of the board in Drake Carty. We'll talk a little bit more about how Phoenix has changed all throughout the years, but in the past 16 years, it's almost a whole new circuit. It might look the same, but not only is the pavement different, the structure of the way these drivers go lap after lap has fundamentally changed. And maybe for the better for some drivers. I don't know if everyone's going to prefer it, though. Not a lot of times drivers get a chance to take it down to old Phoenix and rip it around in these old trucks. A lot of power in these machines, and for the first time tonight, Drake Carty gets to test out his Chevrolet Silverado. He's got teammate Corey Lyles right beside him. And it's time to get moving for the first time here in the old Avondale. Down to the inside line goes the iRacing official pace car. Coming out of turn 4 into the start-finish line, the green flag will wave, and we are underway, racing for the virtual Phoenix Raceway. Cautions out for the first time tonight, the reason being Aaron Fontaine and Joey Kuba going to end up wrecked coming to the entry of turn 3. Yellow flag is out to start the night. And so we're going to bring it back under pacing and reel him in to kick off this event. Here's a look at the replay here. Back of the field for Joey Kuba and Aaron Fontaine. Looks like it starts with Fontaine here heading into the entry of 3. Aaron gets loose, spins up the track, and as Joey Kuba comes by, no chance for Joey to avoid, locks it down, ends up in the air. And it looks like Caden Perkins also getting some minor damage, but negligible, and the 54 will continue regardless of what just happened. Hayden Perkins gets away. Aaron Fontaine is going to get destroyed in the front end, and Joey Kuba contact in both the front and the back sides with 79 laps to go. And so we're going to go back to the live feed here, already pacing to kick off the night. Pit road not busy in the slightest, and instead going to be Drake Carty at the head of the field. So Carty now going to lead those opening laps. Corey Lyles still going to be second, and Jace Hale still beside Joseph Klein. No major changes there in those first opening laps as drivers come down to pit road. Fontaine and Joey Kuba respectively more than 1 lap down immediately, and getting close with Cash Culp on that one as Culp got away from it as well. The number 57 right alongside Aaron Fontaine, and although I don't believe there was any contact, coming close to that yellow curbing which does not exist in the modern Phoenix, might have been what led to that opening incident with Aaron Fontaine. And we mentioned much different circuit in regards to its style compared to modern Phoenix. Not cut under the dogleg. Matter of fact, the dogleg does not exist, and we'll take it from above the driver's perspectives when they come back around one more time. Culp down and in. And he'll be heading to the tail of the line after that one here. So Cash Culp going to drive through, and we'll see what comes of it now as Caden Perkins moves up to 10th. And we're getting settled in once more for a restart. It looks like 2 laps from now, we should be in restart territory. Take a look over to your heads right now and you can see the drivers making their way by, but none of which have the option to go under the yellow line at this track. The reason being the grass, of course. And here's where the dogleg cut would be with the yellow curbing. That's where it is in modern Phoenix. Here, not the case. And so drivers are going to have to remain exactly where they're placed on the traditional racing circuit. You cannot cut down to where pit exit is or anywhere of the sort. And matter of fact, Cash Culp right now is just caught up to the field. But for a driver who's on pit road and the exit, you'll see there is a dedicated line of pavement that gets you out. Not necessarily the way you'd think of it otherwise. It's simply as every other track would be. Phoenix is much different now. It's almost a parking lot that drivers used to race rather than anything else in the current day. But once upon a time, Phoenix had actual rules, and now we're heading through where the current start-finish line is. That's no longer the case, of course, in the real world. You don't see the traditional start-finish line. Here and now, of course, going to be double file as we head out of turn 2. .76 laps to go. Drivers bunching up once again, and it's going to be time to go back at it with the 59, still your race leader, Corey Lyles, his teammate, right there. And so now the field getting bunched up again. We have 2 drivers off the lead lap. 11 still with us here as we're going to head back racing with 75 laps to go. It's going to be Drake Carty up and in front. iRacing official pace car is going to drop down and low. And here we go at it once again. First restart of the night going to be led now by Drake Carty. Here we go. Green flags out. Carty going to lead Lyles. Top 2 drivers going to break away from the field and do so easy. The rest of the pack going to be left in the dust. You'll see Jake Raven there with the number 8 of Cody Linscott. Not to mention Joseph Klein, Cameron Albertson, and a few other drivers keeping it in touch. And 74 laps to go now to get underway for our first string of green flag laps. And you'll see there a little bit of 3-wide commotion. And Cash Culp making a quick pass. And he goes right through the middle. And now going to be making up spots and quick. Gets by Jace Hale up in a 5th now. And you can see Hale a little bit more of that lack of control. Same as Aaron Fontaine, down to the wall, plows back to the bottom, and it looks like Jace will have to come away rolling, but not unscathed. Another driver going to make contact quick. And that's another thing about these trucks. You are not planted to the surface in these trucks to begin with. The surface here, unforgiving. You can see the tire marks. You can see the defined grooves. It's almost like something akin to Michigan and Auto Club, but there's no banking to really support you there. So once you go loose, there's no coming back. Now Caden Perkins going to be right beside Cody Linscott, and talking a little bit more about those defined grooves, there's something you feel in the steering wheel more than anything else, and it'll steal the grip away from you, and it will not give it back. Looking on board right now with Caden Perkins, let's explain a little bit further as Perkins right now going to find himself in 7th. Look at the left side of your screen, and you can see all the work being done there by the steering wheel. That's, of course, Caden Perkins in full command, trying to figure things out right now. And every time he feels those little bumps, those little grooves, he has to make those minor adjustments, which, of course, change the way things go. Contact, and it's going to be contact indeed. Perkins gets away, cautions out. Linscott is in trouble. Yellow flag will fly for Cody Linscott. Getting contact there. And we talked about the little grooves, and it looks like Linscott can have a little bit of a run-in. Gets bumped out the way. Cautions out for the 2nd time tonight. So Linscott right now, currently 10th on the order. And of course, after a little bit of contact there, the 54, just making it by to bump and run. Didn't look to be malicious, if anything. And just like that, Linscott, 71 laps to go. Now down to 10th. Nothing too crazy. There shouldn't be any major damage, if anything. However, now Cody going to be right there in 9th and making a spot back up. 70 laps remaining. Jake Raven, Chris Mullins, Caden Perkins, Cameron Albertson a few spots ahead. And so another light instance of tapping brings us back to the caution here, and Drake Carty still going to be your leader. So far, Corey Lyles has not made much of a move so far, has stayed right in tow of his teammate, and so far the both of them doing a very good job at the head of the field. Total team control we might be seeing tonight. Mike in the chat, thank you for stopping by. Hope to have you stick around for all of the night here on out. 70 laps to go, and we have a lot of race history to talk about. First of which, when this race technically actually occurred in 2008. Now, at that time, the Truck Series was the Craftsman Truck Series, but that was before Camping World and company came in. So these trucks took on this circuit as it was way back when, and two familiar faces came out first and second at the end of day. They were, of course, ringers coming in from the Cup Series. Kevin Harvick won in 2008 at this track, besting Kyle Busch. It was a fierce battle between the both of them, and of course, they raced in the Cup Series at that time and still came down low. Went for truck victories, and Kevin Harvick getting it. It was one of only 3 starts for Kevin in that season and his only victory on the campaign. Kyle Busch finished second on that night, and this was in November of 2008, one of the final races of the season. Todd Bodine came home third with Brian Scott and Mike Skinner rounding out the top 5. Brad Keselowski at that time racing for his own team finished in 6th. The pole speed for that event was 131 miles an hour, which comes about to very similar times as what you're seeing right now. There were 7 cautions in that race, which accounted for 41 laps, and the average speed of the race was 88 miles an hour all throughout its action. Only 4 lead changes throughout the entirety of the event, though. Keep that in mind. Of course, we haven't seen one yet. It's not easy at this track, and the best drivers in all of truck racing in 2008, they proved it. And now these 2008 trucks once again, it looks like so far you've not quite seen much action at the front. Drake has been very solid, and Corey Lyles, he's kept it right there too. Field now, 68 laps to go. Understanding we're going to go back at it again for another double file restart. And as we see them all come to the green flag once again, we'll see what Drake can do to get that, once again, advantage in the restart zone. Is it going to be all about going early or going late, or will it even matter now? Corey Lyles, of course, his teammate right behind him, and we shouldn't see any of that disloyalty so early. No reason to risk a good run and a good finish, especially since we've only just begun. And so Drake is going to get the lead and get the jump. There we go again, restart number 2. And the field led by the number 59, grabbing a gear and getting going again. A little bit of tire squealing, and it's going to be Drake all the way down to the bottom of the track, still side by side with his teammate. No trouble. And for a moment there, you'd have to wonder what was going on there with your top drivers. Drake Carty getting it in control again and using that bottom side, which seems to be the all-controlling line so far tonight's race. 67 laps to go. Nice move there from Drake Carty getting the spot. And now it's going to be Corey Lyles right behind, tucked in ever so nicely. Now going to find himself up at the head of the field in second as the battle for third continues. Joseph Klein right now in the 97. The middle groove all the way up top. It's going to be now a little bit of a run up high for Cameron Albertson that costs him a position. And another admin box driver, and Caden Perkins now makes the move up to 4th. Caden involved in the most recent yellow flag and now finds himself on the outside looking into the podium and is looking to sneak in rather quickly as he goes tucking in under the 97 here of Klein. Joseph tags the wall ever so slightly. Caden stays right there looking for the chance. Looking aboard right now with Caden Perkins, you'll see exactly what's going on inside his cockpit. A little bit of wrestling the wheel back and forth, pushing and shoving inside the cockpit, and Joseph Klein getting away here. Last time by, Caden was quicker by a 1/10 of a second, and it's all about using that groove through 3 and 4. There's not a lot of banking in these final 2 corners, so if you understand how to drive through it well, that's all the more noteworthy lap after lap. Klein once again losing a little bit of time, but not enough to make a difference. And the 54 machine of Caden Perkins still right there. As the field flies by, Joseph Klein going to have a little bit of network trouble at the head of the field. Drake Carty going to be leading the way, and Corey Lyles then in second. 1-2 run for these two drivers as they've now broken away. Looks like by nearly a full second. Isra Racing in the chat room, live on FTN on Monday nights, brought to you by Gary Godso and Mark Murphy, the wonderful commentary duo who brought the series along from their previous stay. They're with FTN now, and they're doing a great job each and every Monday night, so stay tuned for more Israel Racing, the Xfinity Series, live at 9 p.m. Eastern each and every Monday night. It's a fantastic series to stay tuned into, and they've had some great racing without yellow flags. It's been a dominant season so far, I believe, for their main driver, who's got now more than 5 victories. We'll get back to you on the numbers there. Caden Perkins having a little bit of trouble up high, and you can see multiple instances of contact, right side damage, and some trouble for the admin box 54 as Cash Colt gets loose and locks it down rather quick. Cash Colt now going to wiggle up to the high side here, the number 57, 62 laps to go. And the SimPulse Chevy Silverado, one of only one tonight. No signs of Thomas Coonan on the racing circuit here. And now Cash Colt going to have to carry the banner and look for 2 consecutive wins. Right now, though, his teammates, simply put, have him beat at the head of the field. Now, it's going to be Corey Lyles 1 second back on Drake here, and getting that lead built up. The number 59, advantageous, and up there since the jump, has led every lap so far today and has not been contested. Coming up to conclude lap number 20, it's been a flat 20 laps led, and the opening quarter of this race has been all Drake so far. No question, he's got the magic touch. Right now, going to be a line of drivers training together. The 57 of Cash Colt going to be now just behind Cameron Albertson, and we'll see whether or not he can do anything with it here. Keep in mind, you cannot tuck low through the back straightaway, so to speak. The dogleg does not exist, and drivers have to stay exactly where they are on the racing pavement once more. Coming down to the front straightaway and, of course, the original start-finish line. Staying right behind Cameron Albertson, Cash Colt choosing not to make the move and go through turns 1 and 2. The pit exit line going to be on the left side of the drivers here, and the grass takes up all of what's the current dog leg. Cash Colt now going to go high on Albertson and look to make the pass. Staying high, he's got himself in the mix, and so does now Chris Mullins. Mullins, 1 win so far this season coming at Daytona, and Albertson cutting loose and cutting low. Cash Colt gonna end up slamming the wall, and Mullins makes it by. Cash, aggressive, doesn't quite get anything out of it. Keep in mind now, the Cash Colt does have newer tires than most everyone in the field. A matter of fact, he's the only driver on the lead lap who has gone down a pit road at all. And even then, it looks like the new tires really haven't done all too much, at least so far. He might be driving the wheels off a bit, but it means he's slamming those wheels into the corner every time. And a little bit of trouble here as it's going to be a loose Joseph Klein. Joey saves it, but it could have been much, much worse there as he ran down the front straight all out of sorts. And that will bring Cash Colt back in the fight. .57 of Cash Colt now going to be right there on the inside of Klein, and now right behind Chris Mullins again. Chris is going to get into 76's grill, of course. Cash Colt right behind it, and now Cameron Albertson moving down to the bottom step of the podium. Still there in third and running away. Cash Colt makes contact. They'll slide through turns 1 and 2, and Colt is going to stay drifting. Got a little bit of tempers flaring once again, and Cash stays there. What's going to happen now? Does Joseph Klein decide to retaliate? Does Cash Colt go for the same move again? Squeezes the 97 high. Colt is going to make the pass in a 5th. Joseph Klein now going to fade back to the 6th spot, and Jake Raven now looking just ahead. Joseph Klein going to stay right behind Cash Culp regardless of that little incident, but you can see who's made it up multiple tenths of a second in just one lap. There's Jake Raven, and Jake now going to cut loose, get to the bottom side, and go right under Klein. It looks like Joseph going to have to continue getting himself back into a better position to fight for a spot, but it looks like now Raven's got the advantage, cutting to the low side once again. Bottom groove has been the advantageous position all night long. You want to make a pass, you cut down to the bottom. It's as simple as it gets. Now Jake stays low. Looks like now it's going to be Joseph Klein giving just barely enough room, and here comes Cody Linscott. Cody in the wall, not going to be a factor so far. 54 laps to go. Jake Raven cuts deep, tries to go for it once again. 97 of Joseph Klein stays right there in the mix. Middle groove going to be staying right beside the 37, and it looks like even still Klein able to hang on. And so now Cody Linscott going to be all over the back end of the number 37. Let's see what now Jake Raven can do about it here. And Jake finds himself just barely ahead of the number 8 here, and Cody can see it. A chance at a pass, maybe a chance at multiple here, as everyone has settled in and settled down once again. Chris Mullins going to be in 4th here. Cash Culp going to be in 5th. Positions number 4 and 5 respectively now going to be all alone as the closest battle on the track remains here. Joseph Klein going to be working the back end. Take a look for the deck lid here and see what's going on as Joseph tries to hold off 2 drivers. And to no avail. Here comes now Raven with a load of momentum down to the bottom side, gets down to the yellow curving, and gets the spot quickly. He'll be up now into 6th. Linscott's going to go for a ride again, and he has no trouble bumping the 97, and they are using Joseph Klein up. He's been now touched up for multiple positions here and has fallen down from what was a fight for 5th. Then came 8th place Joseph Klein. So with Klein now making his way down to the 8th spot, it looks like still hanging on. Doesn't have anyone else to really compete with though. Rodney Roberts is several seconds back in the lapper of Aaron Fontaine. Now in the mix, but not there competitively anyway. 50 laps remaining. And Klein now going to see the lappers coming up on his back end. It looks like the tires are all but shredded right now for that 97 car. Not looking the best. However, he's hung on regardless. Cody Linscott going to be there in 7th position. Half a second up is going to be Jake Raven, and Cash Culp going to now be coming up slowly but surely on Chris Mullins. That time by, Mullins was 0.2 of a second slower than Cash Culp, which would mean within the next 10 laps time, Cash Culp should be at the back bumper of Mullins no matter what, if not sooner here. Raven the wall ever so slightly. Chris Mullins and Cash Culp just barely avoid it. And while the top 3 have gotten away so well, these drivers have continued fighting amongst themselves, and it looks like that's the way it's going to remain all night long. Keep in mind, if you're watching the past 2 races, we went to Lanier, now we're here in Phoenix, and we're just going to keep getting bigger with our next race. We'll be moving on next to the Pocono Raceway. It is a 2.5-mile circuit in Pennsylvania. Welcome back to Long Pond. It's been a long time coming on FTN, and the last time we went there was indeed with the truck. So next Friday night, we'd love to have you there once again for more Prodigy Racing Association action, as we could see another new race winner, as we may see today with the brand new Drake Carty up at the front of the field. However, there's a little bit more of this battle going on. There's Jake Raven looking a little bit high. He'll take it about 1.5 grooves up and cut down to a 1/2 groove ahead. Now cut all the way to the bottom, looking for that late apex to get some more momentum and barrel down the main straightaway. 47 laps to go. Cut deep. There goes Jake Raven. Hasn't quite found the room for the spot yet. Cash Culp now going to find himself up on the high side. 5th spot so far with 47 laps remaining. Cash looking at Chris Mullins, but it looks like Jake Raven has enough speed to challenge the both of them. And Raven has been so good at one thing this season and one thing only: finishing 3rd. He might be the most consistent driver in this entire series, save for Zach Saunders, and tonight, another chance at the top 3 might be in store if he can hang with this group and maybe get a lucky break or 2 when it comes down to strategy. Up high, going once again for Jake Raven, trying to get that later apex to work out as the strategy call. That's the move so far, and of course, running in the toe in the slipstream here down the straightaways. keeps him in good standing, but has not been enough to make a pass or go for anything aggressive. Instead, just going to have to be biding his time here and waiting for the perfect opportunity, which has not yet come. It's all about patience here as time begins to run out. Cash Culp now within 0.2 of a second of the driver ahead in Chris Mullins. Mullins having perhaps his best race of the season so far since Daytona, running up inside the top 5 comfortably, and more than that, found himself now in a good position to perhaps keep the spot on defense. Cash Culp going to go low, and it looks like Mullins decides to take it a little bit higher, looking for some momentum to ring around the corner, but it's not going to be enough. Coming down the straight once again, no contact just yet. Cash Culp gets his quarter panel contact. There it is. Chris Mullins is going to be decked. Lynn Scott has contact. Cash Culp does it again. Bring back the tape here. And we were wondering if contact would come of it. Yes, it did. Here we go again. 44 laps to go. Cash Culp down to the bottom side. We'll see who was really at fault for this one, but it looked like Mullins hanging through his groove. Culp coming up, up. Contact. Cash Culp did that one. Yeah, Chris Mullins, he stood exactly where he wanted to be. 76 machine, he was there, and there you have it. Contact, and second time Culp involved. However, it was indirectly with Aaron Fontaine, this time quite direct, and Culp now moves up 4th position. Chris Mullins is going to be destroyed. That is his night, mind you, running so well to kick off the day. He is in shreds. He's not going to be coming back on the track. Leading the way, Ray Carty. Corey Lyle's going to be in second, and then from there, Jake Raven. 1, 2, 3 overall, and Carty at the head of the field. Looks like still there. His teammate right beside him. Pit road got busy, and it looks like it still is. Driver's going to be rolling right off. Number 15 machine of Cameron Albertson gets back on the way. .42 laps remaining. By the time we go back racing once again, it's going to be a halftime showdown. With 40 laps left on the table, more drivers coming in. It's Drake Carty now coming in with Aaron Fontaine and alone. This would give the lead to Corey Lyles and inheriting the lead in that track position, which is oh so important in a night's race. And we'll see what comes of it here. Corey Lyles now getting his first chance up at the head of the field here. Is it possible? The number 56 to hold on for the second half of the race and keep it going? Or is it going to be Cameron Albertson maybe having a chance to steal that top spot? Cash Culp, 3rd. Jake Raven, 4th. Cody Lynn Scott, 5th. And Rodney Roberts, position number 6. That's the way they roll with Jace Halen, 7th. And now Drake Carty and Joseph Klein. They're going to be coming back onto the circuit, of course. There's Klein, and now Drake making it back up with the leaders. Corey Lyles up at the head of the field. An advantageous 40 laps in. .40 laps to go. And now Lapper's going to be cycling back around. We'll sail ourselves in for another dash here. It's going to be quite the sprint, what's left anyway. And Corey Lyles from JFR up in front. Cash Culp going to be there in 3rd, and Chris Mullins is going to be effectively done for the day. 3 laps down, and Mullins is going to be shredded. Aaron Fontaine, 5 down, is still driving. Hayden Perkins there in 12th. Getting back on the way regardless. Mullins, Fontaine, Perkins look to be all but out of this one. Joseph Klein now getting back with the leaders, and Corey Lyles going to be position number 1. Lead us off for restart number 3. iRacing official pace car going to drop low, and Corey Lyles will be in full command for restart number 3. A little bit of wheel spin there from Cameron Albertson, and here we go again. Green flags out, and Lyles brings his teammate Cash Culp up to the head of the pack. So it's going to be Corey Lyles now taking the lead, quarter of a second up in front of Cash Culp. A little bit more of action further on in the mid-pack of the field. Drake Carty getting up to 5th and quick. Now the question becomes, in dirty air for the first time tonight, what can Drake do to replicate the successes he's had so far? Is it even possible to replicate those successes right now? Does he find himself hanging by the wayside, not in the right position to go out there and contend? Drake Carty going to be in 5th, Cody Linscott going to be 6th, and you can see Jake Raven now going to be hustled as he goes to the high side by force. Drake is already making it back through quickly and methodically, making up several spots on just that restart alone. Now he's just got to peel his way into the picture for the race lead. However, it looks like Cash Culp more than ready to take his spot in the fight and go toe-to-toe with Corey Lyles for him instead and look for 2 consecutive wins. Lyles remains right back out there, and Corey Lyles still has the advantage, and Corey's had the clean air all night long, but Cash Culp, looking for the chance, stays right behind him. "37 laps remaining. Cameron Albertson going to be 3rd, Drake Carty 4th, Jake Raven 5th. A few other battles going to be happening in the back of the frame. Cody Linscott, surprisingly, has survived this race so far, although front end damage is visible. Yeah, Cody's out there, and it's remained so all throughout the night. Still on the lead lap, running in position number 6. And while the night has by no means been easy, you can see he gets shoved up the track once again with Joseph Klein. I think Linscott right now just trying to take that pass and keep himself out of trouble. Does so quickly. Rodney Roberts now coming up on Klein, and as such, a battle persists here between Cameron Albertson and the 59 of Drake Carty. Quick move there, and Carty makes it by. That's up to 3rd and quick. Cameron Albertson going to be 4th now. And Drake's inside the podium, now trying to hunt down his teammates right ahead. It's JFR 1, 2, 3, and Carty's at the back of it. Carty now going to be up on the back end of Cash Culp, looking for his first of 2 more passes. Going to cut down to the bottom side. Cash Culp gives him some room. Cash going to go about a groove and a half higher here and try to use that front straightaway to pull himself back in the mix. It'll be 33 laps to go this time by. Cameron Albertson remains just behind him. And even so, Drake Carty makes the position. Quickly up in a second. Drake getting it through, and Cash Culp in the number 57 running back just about a 10th behind, stays right in the mix. It's going to be nose to tail between the 2 teammates. Cash Culp looks low, but Drake Carty going to defend quickly. Corey Lyles up in the front of the field, 48 laps in, has used that clean air, and so now puts himself up in front. He's got it there, still expanding that gap. Question becomes now, can Drake try to reel it back in, or is all that time effectively wasted his chance? 32 laps to go, so it's still not a shut door, but it's going to take a lot to reopen it here. It's going to take raw speed and a little bit of finesse to get those tires to cooperate in the later going of the run. Back in the straight, it looks like Cameron Albertson gonna have a little bit more trouble. The number 15 slamming the wall, loses about a 1/10 of a second on that sector alone. However, Cameron is still quick, and as a matter of fact, he looks like he's coming up now on Cash Culp. Cash may be fading out of the lead battle once again. Admittedly, the number 57, perhaps the weakest of his teammates tonight, but still running solidly for a top 5 finish and maybe trying to hold on for a podium regardless of now these troubles that are beginning to brew all over again. Cash remains in position up at the front of the field in 3rd, but it looks like now he's getting trailed right back in. First Albertson, maybe then Jake Raven, and Cash Culp's just going to have to keep on defending here. He's got the preferred lines. He's got every line he needs. Now just see if he makes the right choices, as Drake Carty is still slowly but surely trying to reel your race leaders in. We'll keep a watch on that as it all progresses here. Meanwhile, it looks like this battle will be the here and the now, as the gap is now under 3/10 this time by. Overall, 29 laps remaining here. And Cash Gold going to find himself right ahead of Cameron Albertson, quarter of a second the distance, and the difference is clear. Cameron slightly quicker all throughout the corners. Straightaway speed, the only thing where they look to be dead even. A little bit of contact, and down to pit road, Jace Hale goes number 70. Looks like damage is going to bring the man in from 9th position, and he'll go one lap down, if not more, as the leaders are due to fly by the front straight. This time by, that they do, and Drake Carty, now within 0.2 of a second of Corey Lyles, has made it closer and closer and closer. He's here now, and he's looking to take that spot back. Here goes down to the bottom of the inside. A line is Drake Carty, once again cutting low and cutting a little bit deeper. Still trying to find that room for the pass. Hasn't quite found it. He'll have to reset and regroup and go for it again. Going to the inside with 27 laps to go. Still not the right call. And now you got to wonder if Corey Lyles is trying to start wearing them out with some extreme defense if there's any left. They're teammates, so I wouldn't expect them to race each other dirty. But Drake Carty is a first-time driver in this series, and he is looking for a win. Cash Colt has, of course, found himself in victory lane. Lyles has gotten close multiple times over, has not quite found it. As you see now, Cody Linscott going to go at it with Rodney Roberts. No avail so far. It looks like Roberts going to hold on to the position up at the front. Tonight comes down to a chance for a first-time win for either driver you're looking at here. Lyles has come close repeatedly. Carty has never been in this series before, and yet he's here, and he is now looking down and deep, trying to cut lower and lower, almost down by the yellow line, and the paint will determine how low they go. 25 laps remaining here, and it looks like Drake now, he's got the bottom side to himself whenever he tries to go there, but that only means that Corey Lyles has defended well enough to remain a car length down, if not more. 25 remaining, and still, like, no gains. Drake Carty gonna have to keep waiting. Up at the front of the field now, your top two drivers have broken away from Cash Copeland Company by more than a second. And now nearly 2-second gap between Cash Colt and leader Corey Lyles. Carty, more than a 10.5 back as he comes out of turn 2. Doesn't gain a lot of time down the straightaway. As a matter of fact, it looks like, admittedly, he's losing it. And instead, using that lunge to try to make a dive at it. Here goes Carty, side by side. Looks like Lyle's going to get rattled now as they come down the front straightaway. And you can see it clear as day. Drake Carty's best opportunity. He goes through 3 and 4, gets it side by side. Now for the pass, cutting deeper. Carty just about a half car length up. Now it's going to be side by side as they come past the modern dogleg section. The lowest you can go is down to those orange curves, and Carty will use them. Everything is an advantage. Go down lower, you cut deeper, there's a chance to go clear. That's what Drake Carty does. Drake to the race lead with 23 laps remaining. Coming across the stripe once again. And it's going to be Corey Lyles now working the back end. But there is no use. Carty back to the top spot. With 22 laps to go, we'd like to thank our wonderful camera providers at TrackCams22.com and crank it up with the best cameras on the market. Visit TrackCams22.com for more information after tonight's broadcast, and we'll return after we get things louder and louder. And we'll be right back after cranking it up from Phoenix. And so 17 laps remain. Middle of the field is still fighting, and even still, we just got things loud on FTN, cranking up. 22 laps to go on down. It's only 17 laps remaining. And once again, your dominant driver, Drake Carty, at the head of the field. Corey Lyle's going to be second, and Cash Culp going to be third. JFR looking for a 1-2-3 finish. Although it looks like, admittedly, these drivers have hung on quite well. It might come down to a little bit more of that strategy. Maybe later on for the drivers in the mid-pack, as a strategy call of tires and whatnot. A few drivers further on back did go down a pit road at different portions of the race. It's notably from the battle of 6, 7, 8, Rodney Roberts, Cody Linscott, and Joseph Klein. Klein right now with a minor disadvantage, and you can see him fall behind Linscott. Joseph Klein, the reason being, went down to pit road 3 laps earlier, and now going to be hustled once again. Aaron Fontaine has remained on the back end of the leaders all night long after that initial incident. He's 5 laps down, and it just has not panned out so far for the 18 team, as Jake Raven looking for third place again, and it looks like he's going to cut low for it. He knows, of course, Cash Culp involved in a few incidents so far. He knows there's been a few incidents regardless, and it looks like now Culp is going to be defending up and down the track. Jake Raven stays right behind. So, coming up closely to a baker's dozen. Jake Raven stays in tow. Cash Culp has decided to, of course, go all out on defense. You can see him sweeping off the front end of the number 37. And it looks like now a little bit loose. Cash drives up the circuit, and Jake Raven goes a little bit further with them. They'll be side by side coming down the main straight, but Jake Raven decides to cut low and stick to his plan down the front stretch again. Now Cash Culp was going to try for everything he's got to hang on to this position, even if it is going to be trickier and trickier every passing lap. Culp loose once again, staying right behind. Jake Raven, over the second back, has kept in tow and is kept on watching. And you'll see Cash Culp once again going to be drifting through the corner. It looks like he's losing grip, and it looks like it's coming fast. He's got no choice, at this point anyway, than to try and defend just parking it through the corners. And he's got the advantage through the corners going in, and he's going to decide to lay it right down low. Jake Raven, no choice but to send it topside, and it looks like now going to try to use that momentum to get through down the back straight. Cutting low. Jake Raven's got room. They're door to door, and it looks like the advantage will now be in the hands of 37. That's for third. Raven back in the bottom step of the podium. Cash Culp was close. Close to contact. Going to be once again brushing right up against the bumper. Motor blows on pit road. That looks to be, perhaps, Caden Perkins. And Jake Raven's done it with 11 laps remaining. He takes the spot and is now looking to hang on. Cash Culp, contact! That'll knock Culp off of himself. And the 57 gets loose, holds on. And it's not going to work out there for Cash Culp. Jake Raven gets away, and Mr. Third Place. Look exactly where he is once again now as we come with 10 laps remaining. For Jake Raven, what a drive it's been once again. Quiet, but he's done it once more. As low as 9th place, of course, to kick this race off, and ever since he's gone higher and higher and higher, and now finds himself on the podium yet again. And perhaps that's the gift, of course, of being so consistent. Regardless of what happens, Jake Raven is there, and he finds himself at the front of the field. Even if there are some setbacks and struggles along the way, it's all about that dedication and consistency as the motor is smoking up the front straight. Cash Culp, he falls back into 5th here, and it looks like Cameron Albertson getting in between he and Raven. Cameron is up to 4th as a result of the major switch-up, and Cash Culp losing that time. Nine laps remaining. Looks like now time running out for all the leaders as to come around for 8 remaining this time by. Drake Carty How about the lead so far this number 59 team has built up? Nobody in sight. It's a 4-second advantage over Corey Lyles. And from the very beginning of this race, it was clear that Drake was the man to beat. Led from the jump, getting that pole position, has led the most laps. And while he's not led every tonight, it's been nothing short of dominance once again, as another driver looks to add their name to the history books as a victor in this first season. 7 laps to go, and still counting down. Rodney Roberts now looks to be coming up on Cash Culp, which goes to show that Culp's tires are shredded, and he might be driving a little bit outside of where he should be right now, as you can see, getting loose through these corners and wrestling the wheel. Everyone besides Rodney, Cody Linscott, and Joseph Klein have had a way with them. In the 57 team, it looks like now Rodney Roberts, maybe the next driver to make a pass here, as Rodney comes up quickly, and all of a sudden, Cash Culp in major, major trouble. And we'll see whether or not Cash Culp can stay where he's at, or if he's going to lose another spot. But so far, Rodney Roberts getting within a half a second, and hasn't been able to capitalize just yet. 6 laps remaining, and still cutting that time. Drake Carty looking to make it 5 laps to go here, as we head now at the end of lap number 75 to lap number 76. Carty in the home stretch, out and away. And this is exactly where Carty wants to be. 5 seconds up now on Corey Lyles. His teammates have hung on for first and second. Jake Raven once again playing spoiler, and Rodney Roberts now trying to have his way with what's left of Cash Culp. Looking on board now with Roberts, and we'll see how close he's gotten. 5 remaining. It's now going to be all about backing up the corner. The 57 machine goes low, tries to get the immediate advantage. Roberts goes high, and look at the surge down at the end of the corner. Roberts is quicker and quicker clearly as they come across the stripe once again. Rodney will have an opportunity through turn 1. Doesn't force the issue, decides to play it nice and respectful down to the inside, and Cash Culp instead gets in the wall and tears himself up that much more. Culp slots in, and another driver has made it by Rodney Roberts. He has made his move. Currently in 5th now, up inside the top 5 for the first time this season. Not a half-bad drive so far for Rodney Roberts. Gotten quicker as the race has gone on. Perhaps not necessarily getting quicker. However, everyone else around him having so much struggle that Roberts has become that much more of a consistent competitor, lap in and lap out. 3 laps remaining. 78 laps in. Drake Carty now going to make his move. Make it popsicle sticks. 2 laps remaining for the man who has been on top all race long. And what a way to step into this series and show exactly what you've got on the table. Cash Culp won last week for the same team. Zach Saunders has been dominant this season so far, but if there's any team that looks to be top dogs this campaign, it looks like JFR and the Fast Cash Racing Products crew. They are here for the long haul and looking for their 2nd consecutive victory with their 2nd different driver. Corey Lyles will once again have to wait as the white flag flies. 1 lap to go for Drake Carty. Chase Hale going to be right in the way. Shouldn't be any nuisance here. The number 70 far up ahead where it won't be any blockage for your leader, and Carty will be good to come home unscathed. Coming around for the final time tonight, Drake Carty comes into the series, comes into the league for the first time in his iRacing career, and he shows the Prodigy Racing Association field exactly what he can do. Drake Carty will win from the Phoenix International Raceway, and coming across the stripe, battle for 2nd, Corey Lyles pulls through in the runner-up spot. Carty for JFR. 2nd consecutive win for the team. First time win for the driver. How about that performance? No doubt in anyone's mind that Drake was the best man tonight, and the laps led marker, it will show you just that. 61 laps led out of 80, more than 75% tonight going to him. Now the team pulling together for another group celebration. Now for the double burnout with Cash Culp, looking to tear down the house at the end of this one. So, Carty will leave the track a race winner for the first time in his PRA career, getting it done here in the Legacy Truck Series. Before we get a word from your top 3 drivers, these are your overall race results. For the Valley of the Sun 150, Drake Carty will win from Corey Lyles, and Jake Raven comes home third. Ever consistent, he'll pull home in the third spot yet again. Fourth place going to be Cameron Albertson, and then from there, Rodney Robertson fifth. Cash Culp going to be 6th, Cody Linscott in 7th, and Joseph Klein then and there, position number 8. Jace Hale going to be 9th, and Aaron Fontaine rounds out the top 10, 11th place. Then from there, just beyond the confines of the top 10, it's going to be the driver, the number 54, Caden Perkins. The following retired from tonight's race: Chris Mullins, Joey Kuba, Shannon Milliken, Cody Johnson, Nicholas Wagoner, and Carter Schwab. 17 drivers registered in the night's race, and overall, our one race winner, a first-time driver. An incredible performance, of course, tonight from Drake in the number 59, and what a way to put yourself on the market as a race winner in such a competitive series here with these legacy trucks. You never know what to expect, and tonight we found ourselves a new winner and contender for the future. Let's get a word right now with your race-winning driver. See if he's available. It looks like he is. So let's get a word with the driver who gets it done tonight in his first career start. Pulling up to victory lane with 61 laps led on the day. Drake Carty, the checkered flag is yours tonight. What a way to burst onto the scene and get the victory in dominant fashion. Looks like you had no trouble adapting here at Legacy Phoenix and taking your teammates by storm. How was it like out there?
It was hard. At first, during practice, I was struggling with the tires. I was wanting to spin out all the time. I wasn't really used to the car, but once I got it dialed, I feel like I had a pretty good run there.
And it looks like dialing yourself in, getting, of course, the track position, getting the pole, getting that clean air. You think that was a major advantage in how you ran to kick off the night?
Oh, yeah, of course. Once I got the clean air, I managed my tires. I didn't get the dirty air from the bottom or from the car in front, and it was easier on the tires. I could control my own pace and stick it to my lines and save tires and fuel the whole race, which was good. Benefit to my strategy there.
And of course, going down a pit road, a little bit off cycle, we wondered whether or not you'd have a chance to come back, and that's where the fun really began, having to spend 19 laps out of the lead. Either way, you stormed back up there, got through your teammates, and made it back on top. What was it like, of course, having to fight back up? Of course, you had the position to start, and this time around, you had to work for it.
Yeah, I thought at first I could make it work with the old tires, and once everyone pit, I realized, shoot, I probably should have pitted there. So I pit the next lap and realized starting from the back. So at first I was a little bit disappointed, but then I realized I might have pace to get back to the front. So it was kind of fun going through everyone, trying to manage tires while I was doing it. So try not to go too hard. I think I might have went a little too hard going through, but anyways, once I got in the lead, I went back to saving tires and getting back to my strategy, which paid out there at the end.
Strategy works out when it all matters the most, collecting the checkered flag in your first start here, and we'll be moving on to a much bigger circuit of the Pocono Raceway up next. If you are to return next Friday night, Drake, what do you think it'll take to go back-to-back in your opening 2 starts?
Well, it's going to take good strategy again, like you said, or taking it easy on tires, saving fuel, and then also getting the track down, because I haven't really raced there either. So we just have to work with our team, so yeah.
So, looking up to another team effort tonight, Drake Carty leading the JFR crew to victory for the second straight week. Drake, if anyone else you'd like to shout out, any final thoughts you'd like to give, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you to Fast Cash Racing Products, SimPulse Paintworks, Ibach Springs, and all my supporters. And if you want to be part of the car, just DM me. let me know.
And there we have it. Drake Carty pulling through in a victory lane tonight from the virtual Phoenix Raceway. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And with Drake on the way, it feels like second place has become Corey Lyle's home, admittedly, after what we saw in Lanier, what we saw in Charlotte. It's becoming commonplace for Lyles to pull through tonight in second. And it looks like nobody had a match for Drake Carty at the head of the field tonight, but if there's anyone who tried to fight for it, you were definitely that one driver.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely did not do good tonight. I mean, I did good enough to get a P2, but I just didn't. I mean, I did well from first time ever driving here. I mean, but I don't know. I didn't have enough for him.
Looks like nobody else had the opportunity to go up there and fight for the win. Can you tell us what it was like on the track that led to the struggles, though? Because, of course, not a lot of drivers have an experience coming in.
Oh yeah. I had no idea how to race the track. I, it was tight, and I got loose, and tight again, and then it was just tight. It was, I don't know, just undrivable for me. Out of the whole season, I feel like this was probably my worst track. This is my second time coming here, and I've never. I mean, I didn't have luck the first time, and I didn't P2 today, but nothing too crazy. Just wasn't able to get up there.
And only a few cautions to mix up the action in between. You think maybe some strategy calls could have given something different, or perhaps a chance for better odds at the win?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like there wasn't much for me to do. If I set up the car, if I dug a little bit deeper into the car and try to mess with some of the like offsets and brake bias, I think I would have had a better chance, but I didn't mess with any of it, so I was running on default, see what that would do, and obviously it was no match for, was it 59 car.
And all things considered, still coming away with the podium before we head on once again to our next venue in Pocono. Maybe a chance to get back at the big tracks and strike for victory lane.
Oh yeah, I love Pocono, so I mean, I'm gonna see if I can get anything done there. I would like to stop getting P2s. I'd like to get at least one P1. But yeah, I'll see if I can get something done there.
For a chance to head to the top of the board next week, Corey Lyles second tonight. If you have any final thoughts you'd like to leave us with, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. Just want to give a little bit of shout out to JFR, team. But other than that, nothing too crazy. Also, Beckman Designs. Can't forget about Beckman. Other than that, nothing too crazy.
There we have it. Corey Lyles, second place on the day here in Phoenix. We thank you for your time.
Yep.
And as used to Corey Lyles, we are here in the second spot. I think there's one driver who's even more familiar with his respective position tonight, and it's once again Jake Raven in third. And tonight, we didn't quite expect it, but it still worked out at the end, and with less than 10 laps to go, you took your regular position, and you made everything work to come home once again, top 3 finish.
Yep, absolutely. I at this point I feel like it is almost fate. Although I had a good run going, I got hung up behind Cash for a few more laps than I wanted, but he was doing some pretty aggressive blocking, and I just, instead of trying to make a move to force something, I just kind of laid back and just tried to get his tires to wear out a little more by pushing him a little harder in the corners, and it eventually paid off, and I was able to get around him, but just a couple laps too late to where I couldn't catch Corey.
Looks like tonight, the big difference, of course, came down to the restarts, the cautions, and the strategy. Although strategy wasn't necessarily mixed up, it looked like no match anyone had for the top 2, and you had to work to get those positions. And it looks like you took a good care of your tires to get home on that 41-lap stint. What was it like trying to manage the tires tonight?
Really, the tires weren't too bad. I mean, I know the track's hot and the car's slippery, but I played it for the long game. I know once we get spread out, we're a very good group of drivers, and there's not really a ton of cautions. So I was playing it after that last caution we had, that we were going to go the whole way. So I just kind of took it easy, braked early into the corners, made sure I wasn't hearing anything squealing, and just kept a steady pace. I wasn't trying to push anything. And by the end there, I hopped into the pit and saw I still had 80% on my right-hand sides, so still had plenty to give. Maybe I could have pushed a little hard to catch Corey, but just doing that seems to be working for me, so I'm just going to keep up that strategy.
Looks like this strategy's been paying off again and again and producing solid results. And we got to wonder, did you think a chance at the podium was really on the table until the very end there, which seems like a few other drivers, they came crashing down as everything looked to be just fine for you?
They did. Because I think I was sitting around 5th or 6th with about 30 to go maybe. And that's kind of where I thought I was going to finish because everybody else was keeping a real good pace. But with about 15 to go, maybe 20, I just saw the cars in front of me falling off pretty hard. And at that point, I knew I need to give it a little more because there's definitely a chance I can catch them. And I was able to do it and worked out in the end.
And all goes well once again for another solid podium finish. Of course, we're going back to the bigger circuits at Pocono, another 2.5 miler where anything can happen at speeds over 170 miles an hour. So what do you think it's going to take perhaps to break this cycle and maybe move up the podium, which I think we've been saying all the season? Perhaps it's finally time to get that chance?
I feel like I need to be a little more aggressive off the start. Maybe I'm just hanging back a little too much, and maybe if I just give it a little extra in the beginning, I won't be as far behind to play catch up as much. Pocono, 3 corners, a lot of straights, not too much to worry about there. The big thing is just going to be slowing down enough into the corners to not tear up those tires when you're making those left-hand turns. But other than that, I feel like it's a fairly simple track compared to Phoenix. You had to hit these corners with a little more technique, I would say, to make sure that you didn't burn those tires up. So we'll see how that works out. And if it does, then maybe I'll stick with it. If not, I might go back to my old ways.
Maybe a chance to do something different, produce a different result, but everything's gone pretty well so far for the 37 crew. Podium once again here in Phoenix. Jake, if you have any final comments or shout-outs you'd like to give, we'd love to hear it.
Just always a shout out to you, the SimPulse guys, for putting this on. Same with PRA, my girlfriend for giving me those cheers at the beginning of the race, getting that morale up, and just all the racers for coming out. You never know until you come out and you try, and hopefully showing good races will bring other people into.
And there we have it, pulling through for another very solid podium finish. Jake Raven, 3rd on the day here from Legacy Phoenix. Thank you once again for your time.
Thanks, David.
Just like that, Jake Raven does it again in 3rd. Corey Lyles does it again in 2nd. It's feeling pretty usual for those 2 drivers to be exactly where we see them. But tonight, a brand new race winner. Drake Carty gets it done, and he does so dominantly, winning here for the virtual Phoenix Raceway. A fantastic way to head to the weekend here live on FTN, where you can expect multiple broadcasts of all forms. Roblox, iRacing, whatever you expect, will be covering it all throughout. Our next iRacing presentation should be Sunday night with the Schumacher Racing League Cup Series and MMS Money Racing returning at 9 p.m. Eastern and 10 p.m. Eastern respectively. This has been a production of the PRA SimPulse Legacy Truck Series, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's coverage. If you did, make sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support is always greatly appreciated. I'm David Croyd's calling the action and producing behind the scenes, and I hope to see you next Friday night at the virtual Pocono Raceway, where we head to one of the biggest tracks in all of stock car racing for a showdown at speeds of over 170 miles an hour. Thank you all for watching tonight's coverage. We hope you enjoyed the Valley of the Sun 150, and we additionally hope you have a fantastic night.